Hello animators, I would like to welcome you to the second tutorial video in iClone Professional Animation series where we will talk about character animation and motion capture. In our first tutorial we talked about how to set up a 3D scene in iClone and how to light it and how to use the camera switch function to make this clip. In this tutorial we'll show you how to make this bike animation and how to set up a 3D scene and how to do all the animation in minutes. We will show you how to set up a path in iClone and how to use the constraint function to make this bike animation. In this tutorial also I'll show you some of the tools that I use to make my character animation look professional. I use several tools like IPI Studio and Perception Neuron, and I will show you also some of the tools to clean this motion capture files. I use several tools and I'll show you how easily it is to clean up the motion capture file that you have. Then we will go to iClone tools, iClone 3D Exchange, to import this animation and how to apply this character animation to iClone characters. So let's start. In this scene I have a biker on a bike. I'll show you how to make this simple animation. We will start by animating the bike parts. So the bike now consists of several parts that I need to animate. The first part is the crank. The crank consists of three objects, the right crank and the left crank, and one object that parent them both, which called the crank. So the crank moves, and accordingly the left and the right crank will move with it. So if I just add two keyframe animation, one at 0 and the last frame I animate the crank, so the right crank and the left crank will follow. So I just animate the Y rotate axis. As you can see here, the right crank and the left crank are following the animation of the crank. I'll do the same thing with the head wheel. The head wheel consists of two objects, the head and the front wheel. So they are combined together. So I have to make several keyframes to animate the head wheel, and the front wheel and the head will follow. So as you can see here, I have several keyframes for the head wheel along the path. So when the head wheel will turn right, the front wheel will follow, as you can see here. And now the front wheel will also head left as the head wheel goes left. So by parenting these objects I can have this very simple animation for the head wheel and for the cranks. Now for the front wheel I just change add two keyframes on the X rotate, one of the 0 frame and one in the last frame. So I'll do also this for the back wheel, just two keyframe animation, one at 0 and one at frame 700. So this simple animation consists of several keyframes. So as the bike moves, these parts will move accordingly. As you can see here, the crank is moving and the head wheel is moving also. Now I have to make the bike to follow a certain path, and this can be done easily using the create path in iClone. I have to create simple path. As you can see here, I already made this path, but I'll show you how to do it. So I just add several points and the path is now ready. I will delete this path and will go back to my path that I have created earlier. So now I have to make the bike follow this path. First, I have to select the bike and go to the Properties tab. In the Properties tab, I have to select the path that the bike has to follow. As you can see, I can pick the path and select the path that I have made earlier. I check the follow path and I select the minus y axis. So now the bike will follow the path in the minus y axis, as you can see. So just two options: follow path, minus y axis, and the bike will start to follow the path. I have to set also two keyframes, one at frame 0 where the path position will be 0, and I will go to the last frame, frame 700, and I will enter 100 as the path position, so the bike will follow the path. Now I'll show you how to let the biker follow the animation of the crank and the head wheel. I will make some dummy objects here in the scene and attach these objects to the head wheel and the crank. So we'll make 4 dummy objects, one object for the right hand and the second object for the left hand. Now what I have to do is I use the animation tab, go to the edit reach target, and I select the right hand and I attached it to the right box. So here I select in the target box, I select the right object for the right hand, and for the left hand I select the left box. So now the left box is selected, and now the right hand and the left hand will follow the motion for the head wheel. As you can see here now, when the head wheel will turn right, both hands will follow. Now, as you can see here, the left hand have a left target and the right has the right target. So now if we scroll the animation, we can see very clearly that both hands will follow the animation of the head wheel. It is that simple. So I go now down to the right crank and the left crank. I have made 2 dummy objects called C left and right left. So the C left will be attached to the left crank, as you can see here, a simple box attached to the right and the left crank. So now the right box is attached to the right crank and the left box is attached to the left crank. So this object will follow the animation of the crank. I now go to the biker, edit reach target, I select the foot, and in the target I select the right dummy object. As for the left foot, I select the left dummy objects. Now the right foot and the left foot will follow the animation of the crank. It is as simple as this. You'll see now how natural the animation will look when the right hand and the left hand follow the head wheel animation, and the left foot and the right foot will follow the crank animation very naturally. So we made the bike follow a certain path by attaching it to its path. We have added 4 dummy objects, 2 for the right and the left hand and 2 for the left and the right foot, and we will get this very smooth animation by adding just 2 or 3 keyframes. Now I will show you some of the tools that I use to work with to get my animation. I have the first tool called Perception Neuron, which consists of 32 Perception Neuron IMU. It's like a suit. As you can see here, the recorder of the Perception Neuron. We have this animation. I'll show you how to clean this motion capture animation using other tools. I use usually two tools to clean the motion capture. The first is the motion builder, and the second is web animate. It's an offline version. Now I export the record here to clean it. I have to use the processed BVH so I can add the T-pose at the head frame. This is very crucial when you are dealing with motion capture files. Now what I have to do here is to clean this animation and get it ready for iClone. So as you can see here, I imported the clip to web animate using the file import menu. So when the file is loaded, as you can see here, the file, I have a T-pose embedded in the file. So I will clean this animation by using the automatic cleaning pipeline in web animate. It's a very powerful tool. I select the hip or any part, and I go to the set iKinema ACP. Now the tool is cleaning this animation. As you can see here, the blue part is the new animation and the green is the old animation. As you can see here, we have some foot sliding issues. So to clean this sliding, we have to do something. We can choose the right foot and the left foot and add sliding compensation task for the right and the left, as you can see. And we will add also the penetration compensation. So now the tool will adjust the motion so to minimize the sliding issue and the penetration of the floor. As you can see, I have some modification to the animation. I can also change the sliding threshold to make it more stiff and more rigid. So now I adjust the thresholds, the in and the out thresholds. As you can see here, you have to play with this parameter to get the look that you want. Another parameter I have to set is the filter. I usually use the 7 value because it is more like a smooth animation. So like you see here, now I have a big difference between the original mockup and the calibrated or the processed motion. Now I have a more smooth animation, as you can see here. I can also add rotation adjustment and translation adjustment to the hand. I usually do this to get more realistic animation from the hands. I add a translation task and a rotation task to the right and the left hand, and I also added to the head. So now I have a smoother animation even for the hands and for the head. So I will export the animation to FBX so I can import it to iClone. One of the other tools that I use, which is affordable motion capture system, it's called IPI Mocap Studio. It consists of a recorder, and I can use any depth camera like Xbox depth camera. And here I made a simple animation to show you how I make a believable character animation using an affordable mocap solution, which consists of a recorder and a depth camera. As you can see here in the scene, I start by a T-pose. I set up some of the parameters, for example, the height, the body mass index, and in this tool I use these settings. I also enable foot tracking, enable ground collision, enable head tracking, and for the shoulder I keep it in the calculated from the position, the stiff lower spine. So I'll start the track forward, and here the tool will track my motion. I just use the camera as I told you, and as you can see now the software is tracking my whole body. Now the animation is acceptable, but I have to use another post-processing function in this tool. It's called the jitter remover because the animation is still somehow jittery. You can play with these parameters, but I use the target trajectory filter to 1, and I leave it to the default values. I hit now the jitter removal, and the software will remove any jittery motion in my motion. I will export this animation with the T-pose at the first frame. As you can see here, the software did track all my motion. The animation is quite good, but we need to enhance it a little bit to be so it is more believable. Now I go back to Web Animate, and I imported the exported animation, and I hit again the ACP function where the tool will start calibrating my animation, where the tool will start processing my animation. And as we did in the previous example, we will add the penetration and the sliding tasks to the foot. You see here already the tool did some modification, but we have to enhance the animation by adding the sliding tasks to the foot. As you can see here, I will add the sliding and the penetration tasks to the foot. So now the animation will look more believable. There are small modifications, but it look more believable now. I can change also the sliding thresholds, so for the animation to be more stiff, so I'm getting a more smooth animation. As for the right hand, I also add the position task and the rotation task for the right and the left, and for the head also. Now, as you can see, now I have some difference between the original motion capture, and now Web Animate did process my animation. So now I'm ready to export this animation once again. I'll show you now how I can process this animation furthermore, because now the motion capture file has a lot of keyframes for each bone. So when you are doing animation modification in iClone, I prefer to have a smaller number of keyframes. Now I get the motion file into Motion Builder, and what I need to do here is to have a smaller number of keyframes so I can make the modifications that I need in iClone. So as you can see here, the motion is quite smooth and believable. And so what I have to do first in Motion Builder is to characterize this skeleton. Here I can show you the frames, the keyframes animation. As you can see, there are a lot of keyframes in this motion, and I need to use the characterization so I can work with this animation. As you may wonder why this is a crucial task. Actually, I do not say it is mandatory, but I prefer to do it because it gives me more smooth animation with a less number of keyframes. So now the character needs some bone definition because the naming of the file that I exported is not read by Motion Builder. So I have to define the bones for Motion Builder so the characterization process is completed. So here you can see the required bone definition. So I have to define the hips and the left upper leg, the left leg, and the left foot. Here is the right upper leg and the right leg and the right foot. I also have to define the left arm and the left forearm, the left hand and the right arm. As you can see, it is a simple process that I need to do it. So now my characterization is ready. So now I have a character that's read by Motion Builder. I can also make a new rig. So now I have a control rig that will drive this motion. But first I have to bake the animation to the control rig because now the animation was in the skeleton. Now I transferred the motion to the control rig. As you can see here, the hip motion is not 100% clear. So let me show you how to make it more smooth. As you can see here, I have a translation and rotation animation for the hip bone. Now I will use a simple tool in Motion Builder. I'll show you now the curves. Here are all the curves for each for the rotation and the translation. Now I can select some of these keyframes and I will show you how to use some filters in Motion Builder so I can smooth it more. I select now all the frames and go to the filter. There are several filters that you can use. You have the smooth translation, the resampling. I'm not going to use this now. I'm going to use one of the powerful filters called Butterworth. And watch clear when I set preview. Now I have a less number of keyframes for the hip bone. So if I need to modify the hip bone for smoother animation, I can do it now more easier because I have less number of frames. Usually you can use this tool. You have some similar tool in iClone, which is called optimizer, but you need to have the plugin, the curve editor plugin for iClone. As you can see here, now my motion is smoother, the hip motion, and I have less number of keyframes. Now I'll bake the animation back to the skeleton so I can export it to iClone. You see now the animation is much smoother. Once again, I say this is a task I usually do it to have a more smoother animation, and I have control in iClone so I can modify the animation later. Now I export the animation in BVH. You can export it in FBX. I'll choose the selected model and the children, and I use the take that I need to export. Okay, now I have iClone 3D Exchange. I'll try to open the animation that I exported from Motion Builder. As you can see here, I need to convert this skeleton to a non-standard character. So iClone will read this format. As you can see here, I have to select the Maya Human IK preset. So the iClone 3D Exchange will read the bones naming. As you can see, everything went smooth here. You can see how the now the iClone read my bone structure of the skeleton that I exported. So now I'm ready to convert this to a non-standard character. You can see here all my motions are updated, and it is now ready to apply it to iClone. To get this animation to iClone, I go to the animation tab and select the take that I have now, and I can play it now here. As you can see now, my motion, the original capture motion, is now ready to be applied to iClone. See now how the animation is smooth. Okay, we'll do some modification later for the animation, but now I will click apply to iClone, and now my animation is transferred to this character in iClone, and my character here will follow the motion capture file that I have exported. As you can see here, the animation is quite smooth and believable. I'll show you now how to save this animation in a clip format so I can use it for another character later. So now the animation is in iClone. I go to the timeline. I select the clip, the motion clip, and I will save it for later use. So I have to go to save clip. I call it test clip. Now take a look at the right hand. As you can see, the right hand is somehow near the body, as if it is penetrating the body. So I need to fix this using the animation tools in iClone. So now I go to the edit motion layer. I will first set up a keyframe at the position where I need to make the modification. I think this frame is good. And now I select the right hand and I will hit reset button. Now I have a keyframe for the full body. As you can see here in the motion layer, I have a keyframe. So I now set a keyframe for the whole bones in the body. Now I will make some modification. I will make the hand go further apart from the body. And now the animation will look more natural. So as you can see now, the right hand is not penetrating the body. And I can once again set the keyframe now for the motion to get back to its normal position. I'll add here another keyframe for the full body. And now all modifications that I made are recorded, and I go back to this frame and I'll add another keyframe here, so my right hand will go to its original position in the capture file. So as you can see now, I have a better animation, and now the right hand is not penetrating the body anymore. As you can see, it is better now. Now what I will do is I will save this clip with the modifications that I made to a new file. I will use this file to transfer the animation to another character. So now I will select another iClone character and I will apply the same motion clip to this character. I will show you how I will modify this animation for this character, because as you know, each character has his own shape and height, so the animation will look different for each character. So as you can see here, the animation is transferred to my new character, and now the character will follow the motion of this file. To edit this motion further in iClone, I need to transfer the animation to Curve Editor. So I want to edit this animation in iClone. To do this, I will export the keyframes to iClone curve editor. To do this, I have to go to sample motion clip and select the right arm bones and click on sample. Now all the animation keyframes will be transferred and will get ready to use it in curve editor. As you can see here, I only sampled the right arm bones. Now I go to the curve editor and I will show you now the keyframes for the right arm bones. You can see the rotation X and Y and Z for the forearm and the upper arm and the right hand. Now I'll show you how I work with curve editor to smooth and adjust my animation. So I use the zoom, the horizontal zoom and the vertical zoom to get to my zone. You can see here the keyframes for the right hand, and I'll show you now how I can smooth further this animation. I select a couple of keyframes here and I will show you how to optimize this keyframe so I can modify the animation. Here you can see the tangents for each keyframe. I can change it all and I can change individual tangent, as you can see. So here I can break the tangent. Here are the several tools that you can use in curve editor, just like any keyframe animation software. So first of all, I need to lower the number of keyframes so I can work better in my animation. So I go to the optimize, selected, and I'll choose the threshold that I need, 81 selected keys, and after optimization they will become only 31 keys. As you can see now, I can adjust the tangent for each keyframe, but now with a lower number of keyframes, so I can modify the animation as I like. In the last section, I will show you how to work with motion clips, how to import more than one motion clip to my timeline, and how to merge these clips and make one complete clip with a smooth animation. So now I will import one clip. It's called Come Here, where the character will act as calling someone, and I will add another clip which is Go There. As you can see, the character is asking someone to go there. So now I will choose where I want to break the first clip and where to add the second clip. I think in this position the character is standing still, so I'll right click on the clip and click break. Now the clip is breaked into two clips. I delete the second clip and I will drag the second clip that I imported. I'll zoom a little so I can see where to join these two clips. As you can see here, now I have two clips in iClone at frame 3, 3, 4. So I will extend the second clip to make a transition keys between the first clip and the second. As you can see now, the character is transitioned from one clip to another, and now I click merge clips. Both clips are merged in one clip, but As you can see, the animation is not smooth. So the transition is not smooth. So I have to make some modifications. What I want to do now is to transfer all these keys from this motion clip to curve editor, so I can smooth the transition between the two previous clips. And I will work keyframe by keyframe to adjust the motion of each bone, so the final clip will look natural. So now I have all the bones keys here in my timeline, and as you can see here in the transition keys, I have to delete all the keys between the two previous clips, and I will adjust the motion between these two clips so it will look more natural. So here is the transition between the two old clips, and you can see it's not natural. So when I delete these keys, I can work and adjust my motion in this transition frames, so the animation will look more smoother. So let's open the curve editor and adjust the hip bone. As you can see here, the hip Z position is shifted, and this is why the motion looks unnatural. So what I have to do now is to adjust all the position Z keys for the hips bone. So I will select all the position Z keys for the hips, and I will adjust all the values simultaneously. So now all the Z positions are shifted, but I have to make also some modifications. Let's delete this key. So now I have a smoother transition for the position Z keys. As you can see now, the character is standing in the same position before and after the transition, and now the animation look more natural. Actually, you can check also for other bones to make some adjustment. So you can check the hip rotation, X, Y, and Z, the pelvis, and you can check the chest and other bones to make sure that the animation is smoother. So I will not go for these bones. I just show you how to do it for the hip bone, and I think the animation now is smoother. But for more natural look, you have to go through all the bones that you think that the transition is not normal, and you have to check it one by one. As you can see here, there are small modifications that you can do to enhance the transition between the two clips. So I will add something here to enhance the transition. I'll show you how I will add a small motion to the head in the transition. You can see now that the transition in the hands is not normally, but as for the upper body and the head movement, the movement is acceptable. So please check here for each bone if the transition is normal or abnormal. You have to check quickly which bone have a peak or spikes in the motion, so you can adjust the individual keyframe, or you can adjust the tangent for the animation to look normal. So now I'm going to flatten all parts to get the animation back to the clip. and I want to save this clip for further editing and for my reference. So now I have a third version of my clip where I mixed two clips together and to produce a simple clip animation. That's it for our tutorial. I hope that you learned some of my technique that I use in my daily work, and hope to see you in our next tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell to be notified when I post new tutorials in this channel. See you soon.